Hey, hi, hello, my name is dis.cat. This is Project Hardcover, where we're letting books be the escape. Hi! And no, we're not in a new venue. This is still my room. This is just the part of my room that you don't see. This is my desk, also known as, the holder of all of the crap in my room. Yeah, I actually don't do a lot of work at my desk. It just stores a whole bunch of stuff that I really should get rid of. And hey, wait a minute, you're wearing your librarian-esque cardigan thingy again. Well, you know what that means. You don't? You don't know what that means? Well, I'll enlighten you. It means it's review time, people! I know, it's finally here! I can't believe it either. So yes, I have a review for you guys today. I've decided that I'm going to shorten my reviews down to just one book per review, because I feel that my old reviews, I didn't get to go in depth about the book as much as I wanted to. So yeah, just one book per review this time. And also, just fair warning for those of you who are not familiar with my other YouTube channel, which is Disciple Catastrophe. I'll leave the link for that down below if you guys want to give it a look. Yes! I do have an incredibly squeaky chair. But me and this chair have been through a lot together, so just bear with him and me, please. But now that all of that jazz is out of the way, the book that I'm going to be talking about today is The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslye Walton. Alright, so first things first, let's give you guys a little bit of detail. This book is about our main character, Ava Lavender, telling about her life. More specifically, it's telling about how her life came to be, and even more specifically than that, how her life came to be about her being a girl born with wings. This book is told generationally. What I mean by that is that Ava starts by talking about the history of her great-grandparents, then talks about her grandmother, then talks about her mother, then finally talks about herself. I heard about this book through a Goodreads ARC giveaway that they were doing for it, and I heard about it and I read the summary of it and I was intrigued and I really wanted one and I asked for one, but unfortunately I didn't receive one. But the summary just sounded so fun and whimsical and so interesting that I decided to just go out and buy a physical copy when they were finally released. And I am so glad I did. This book was spectacular. It was beautiful. The writing was so lyrical. It was like she was telling like a folk tale or a fairy tale, and it was very much like a song. Like I could see someone singing this entire book to a person. It was just so beautiful, and she really did go in depth about all of these characters, and it was never boring. Despite the fact that she was explaining the lives of these characters, it was never boring, not for a moment. You really did get a feel for every character's point of view and different personality and voice, even though it is all being told by one person. It's so good. It's just so good. A good way that I found to describe the tone and the mood for this book is it is very similar, kinda in theme and in tone and mood, as Tim Burton's movie Big Fish. There are a lot of fantastical elements and just quirky things that happen in this book to the characters, that are done by the characters, that are just not explained. One aspect of this that I can give you an example of is her great aunt, so her grandmother's sister, turns herself into a canary. And I don't mean like she goes and plasters yellow feathers all over her body and tweets around the house like a bird. No, I mean she literally turns herself into a little yellow bird. And no one questions this. So yes, definitely Big Fish, like, in that way. Except, you know how Big Fish is really only, like, really sad at the end? Well, no. This book is pretty much sad throughout the entire thing. It's a tale about love and family and heartache and what happens when all of these things come together and how people live through it. and it's just so beautiful. It's just so, I can't get over the writing in this book. I just can't. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I definitely recommend it to anybody, just anybody who loves just the, fantastical, realistic, I know that doesn't sound right. I'm sure there's a proper term for it, like surrealist realism? I'm not sure. Just anybody who enjoys like little stories that have fantastical elements that nobody really just stops to explain or even to worry about will love this. Okay, and now we're done with the non-spoilery part of the review. So for those of you who really want to read this and really want to know what goes on in this story, bye-bye! Aye, spoilery people. Okay, now let's get to the real meat and bones of this story. Okay, so can we start off by talking about those first couple of chapters? We start off with 6 characters, and by the end of, like, the first 3 chapters, all but one of them is dead. That was ridiculous. Like, I remember I was reading about Renee, and I was like, I really like Renee. He's so cute, and he's adorable, and you could just tell that he was just a totally awesome little person. And then, like, 5 pages later, he gets his face shot off, and I was just like, it's gonna be one of those books. Don't get attached to anybody because they're gonna be dead, like, 10 pages later. Yeah, it's gonna be one of those. And then, of course, all the other siblings follow suit, and it's just like, and again, with the fantastical things that just nobody talks about. The freaking sister turns into a bird. Like, not plasters feathers on herself and just goes wacko and walks around pretending to be a bird. No, she literally turns herself into a little yellow bird and no one says anything. Oh no, that's just the natural thing to do when you fall in love with a bird lover and they don't pay attention to you. And then the mom, she's just slowly, like, becoming invisible. She's just slowly disappearing. Just, no one get upset, no one freak out, just pass the milk right through her. It's fine. It just, People talk about how it takes too long for certain, like, fantasy books to, gently ease them into the world. Well, let me just tell you, people, it does not make it any easier when they just chuck you right into the middle of it. Especially, again, when you have a book like this where none of these fantastical things are given a second glance. It's just how it is. We just accept this. So then, of course, every time anything happened, I just knew. I'm like, this isn't gonna work out. Emilienne moves to a new town with her very nice husband. Nope, that can't work. And sure enough, he dies. And then Vivienne, she has this adorable little relationship with Jack, and they're so cute, and they promise they're gonna love each other forever, and you just want to snuggle them and give them all of the good things. I remember reading about them. I was reading about them and how cute they were, and I was just like, don't die, don't die, don't die, please don't die. And I got what I wanted. He didn't die, he just became an asshat instead. And then of course, Vivienne becomes pregnant with his kids, of course. But of course, she's so effed up inside now that she can't accept Gabe. Gabe, amazing, wonderful, like, BFG-esque Gabe. She can't accept his obvious love for her, and it's just, just, you want to smack people. And then Ava pops out, and she has wings. And Henry, like, doesn't talk, or, no, he does talk, he just only says certain words, and you can only say certain words to him, and you can't touch him, and it's just like, what is happening? And again, like, okay, the Henry thing was questioned. They're like, why is he like this? How are we gonna figure this out? But again, for the most part, they don't do an awful lot about it. And the same thing with the Ava having freaking wings. They're just like, well, okay, she has wings. We're just gonna, okay. I was really surprised, though, when Ava started talking about Cardigan and stuff. I was like, oh, this isn't gonna work out. She's gonna screw her over, and then, everything that Vivienne has been trying to protect her from is gonna come true, and it's just gonna be awful. But Cardigan was actually a really good friend. She did have a momentary lapse there at the reservoir, but for the most part, especially in the end. She was just a really good, loyal friend, and that was so good. I really liked that. But the parts about Vivienne and Gabe, I can't get over it. The whole time, I just wanted to smack her and be like, forget Jack. He's an asshat. He's not worthy of any of your time. Please get over this. Gabe is there. Gabe is been like a father to your children, and he's always there for you, and he loves you. Just accept his love. Accept his love. And then, of course, finally, in like the very, very end, she does. But it could have been such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And the ending, that was cray. That was cray. I mean, I knew stuff was gonna go down. I knew that this Nathaniel dude was like off his rocker. But when Ava walked into the room and there were just dead birds everywhere, I was just like, oh, I was like, run. Girl, you need to run. And then she's describing him chopping her wings off with an axe, and I'm just like, what is happening? This is terrible. And the real kicker, the real thing that just aggravates me is, in the end, we realize that Jack Griffith, who has caused Vivienne all of this heartbreak and all of this emotional trauma for all of these years, he hasn't even been in an actual marriage with this chick that he married instead of her. They've been sleeping in like separate beds for the past few years, and they like don't talk anymore because he's so in love with Vivienne, and he did nothing about it. It's like, really? Really? You caused all of this crap, and you could have fixed it. You could have gone and fixed it. She's been waiting for you all this time. And then, of course, when she finally does show up, he has to be the asshat that we all know that he is, and is like, oh, well, you can't honestly expect me to give up all of this stuff that I built up, you know, just so I can help you raise our 2 children. And it's just, And even though the ending was a little ambiguous, I do feel that it had a very hopeful outcome. Yes, I know that it did seem really bleak for a minute there, because Ava was talking about ending her life. She was talking about how life wasn't worth living anymore, and how death seems far more appealing, and how Renee was always there for her, talking to her. But we also got to see hope in Rose's letters that he sent her when he told her that he loved her then and he will love her now, and when she looked out her window and she saw him come back, which was really, really important because of how her mother went through the same situation. Jack went away to college. He promised he would come back for her and be there for her, and he didn't do that. And when he did come back, he had a new woman. So when Ro keeps his promise and he comes back for Ava, it shows that this generational cycle of heartbreak is possibly finally over. Just overall, this story was heartbreaking. It was. So much of it was so sad. But it was also just so much fun. There were so many quirky elements to it. The characters were just unbelievable, and they were so different, and you could get a feel for their different personalities and traits and quirks, even though it is all being told from one person's point of view. And it was just amazing. And the writing, again, is so lyrical and beautiful. I really do feel that someone could sing this entire book and it would just be magnificent. I am so glad that I took a chance and read this. It was amazing. I was afraid because a couple of the other ARCs that I asked for that I didn't get, so I just went and purchased them when they became available, I didn't care for so much, but this one was so great. I would definitely love to see this adapted into a movie. I think it would be so much fun. It would be beautiful to watch. It would just be so great. It's just so awesome. So again, as I said, 5 out of 5 stars. Would recommend to anybody who loves whimsical, semi-fantastical stories. This is just, this is gonna stick with me for a little while. Thanks you guys for watching my first review in like forever. I promise there are more coming. I really hope that you guys go out and get this book, because it was just so great, and, like, the only other person that I've seen, like, even remotely talk about it is Reagan from Peru's Project. I saw her haul it in one of her videos, so definitely more people need to know about this. Definitely more people need to read it, and if you guys have read it, just please talk to me about it, because I'm just all full of the feels about this book right now. Thanks you guys for watching. I'll see you next time, and remember, books are the escape.